he was the youngest up until Benjamin.
Yeah,
Benjamin was the youngest, but up. Music still playing. You gotta go and actually mute the music, bro. Gone. Shalom, shalom. Excuse me. First, giving honor to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Shai. Today's class, patience and positivity. Story of Joseph. Going into, man, just touching on the extremes of what can happen to us, situations that we go through, the people that we interact with, our own family, how things can seem bad on the outside looking in. But as long as you have that positivity, as long as you have that patience, as long as you steadfast in the Lord, man, all of those things are going to pass. But you got to be willing to stick with the program, stay locked in. You know what I'm saying? Just like Job. Job went through all of these atrocities, but never once did he lose faith in the Lord. If anything, he questioned himself before he made it seem like the Lord was the issue. He looked at himself as, if I'm not doing right, Lord, if I'm not doing your will, do away with me. We're going to get into it. Give me Romans chapter 15 and verse 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scripture might have hope.
That we might have hope, that we continue to be steadfast in that faith and in that hope in the Lord, just as our forefathers, just as Joseph, just as Job, and many other prophets. Go ahead and go to Genesis 37 and start at verse 2. Let me get there with you, though. Go ahead, bro.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 2. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors.
Now, for the families that have multiple siblings, brothers, sisters, so on and so forth, your family, your parents, bro, ultimately are gonna have children that they, kind of lean on a little more because of how well that they follow instructions, how well that they listen, how obedient that they are, how well behaved that they are without them having to tell them 39 times to do things or to get things done. They automatically make the parents' life easier when it comes to parenting. And in this instance, Joseph was one of those children. Joseph was one of the ones that listened, was one of the ones that wanted to make sure he's doing right. One of the ones that if something went wrong, I'm going to make that report and let us know what's up. But at the same time, you're going to always have those brothers and sisters that don't appreciate that one brother that always want to do well, or that one sister that always want to do well, because everybody getting in trouble. All right? Read.
And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him.
It say they hated him and they could not speak peaceably unto him because of how Joseph was. Not only the fact that, he was one that was born from the older age of Jacob, but the fact that he also was well behaved, the fact that he also was in line, the fact that he also listened, the fact that he was also obedient is the same reason why the Lord was with him. The same reason why, even though his brothers had ill will to him, even though they looked at him foul, they hated him, he still showed love unto his brothers. Read.
And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaf in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheep stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheep.
So it's saying that the brother sheaves were making a gesture of respect unto Joseph. This is a foreshadowing of what's to come later on in Joseph's life. Read.
And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
Not realizing that these things will surely come to pass, that the Lord was giving him insight on what's going to happen later on in life. Read.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same.
He said, but his father observed the same, and his brothers envied him. Again, the Lord was giving him insight as to what will transpire later on in his life. Joseph will be put into a position where he can provide for his family. The same brothers that bore hatred, the same brothers that couldn't speak peaceably, the same brothers that had ill will towards him. He will be put in a position where he can take care of those same brothers without issue, without hatred, without revenge, without malice, without anger. We're going to get into it. Jump over to verse 18, excuse me.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 18. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him.
See, the brothers are conspiring against Joseph. Jacob sent Joseph to look for his brothers to help them tend to the flock, right? The brothers see him afar off, and now they are conspiring against him to slay him. Again, the same brothers that hated him, the same brothers that could not speak peaceably, the same brothers that envied him now are plotting against his life. Read.
And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him.
He said, what, bro?
Come now, therefore, and let us slay him.
See, they were even being sarcastic. Man, look at this dreamer coming. This dreamer on his way over here, the one that sets himself above us. Look at him, he coming, man. Let's go ahead and take his lights out. Read.
And cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams.
See, this is what I mean by that patience and that positivity. Even though Joseph, knowing that his brothers did not like him, did not reciprocate that same energy, did not reciprocate that same spirit, did not do the same things that his brothers did unto him. Read.
And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood.
He said, shed no blood, let's not kill him. Read.
But cast him into this pit.
But we will put him in this pit, though. Read.
That is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was coming to his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat.
They took his coat of many colors. Read.
His coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty. There was no water in it.
So they not only threw him in the pit, they stripped him, and they left him there without any food, without any water. That ill will, that hatred. You know, the Lord tell us, man, sometimes the enemy can be in your own household. But at the same time, leave not that anger and that vengeance towards them. Let the Lord deal with them. The Lord can do way more worse to that foul spirit than you can. You will put yourself in such a dark and dim place spiritually, trying to seek that vengeance, trying to bear that hatred, trying to bear that anger, trying to bear that wrath, slowly but surely killing the light that's within you.
Bring it out.
Killing the spirit of Christ that's within you by following suit with that same energy. Being patient and being positive go hand in hand with each other, because by you being patient, you're taking your time. You're having a clear mind. You're actually processing everything. That positivity is going to keep your head up. You're going to continue to look on the brighter side. You're going to continue to see the bad that's in front of you and find that silver lining. This is the same thing that Joseph is going through right now. His brother's bearing that hatred. Read.
And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead, with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother?
He said, what profit can we get if we kill our brother, if we slay him? Read.
And conceal his blood. Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites.
So now he got a bright idea. Judah say, man, you know what? Instead of just having him in the pit and killing him, man, or leaving him there to die, why not sell him? Let's make a profit off of our brother. Read.
And let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh.
Say, for he is our flesh and our blood. He is our brother. Let's not go that route where we spill his own blood. Read.
And his brethren were content.
So everybody was in agreement. Okay, cool. Let's not put hands on him. Let's go and let him make it. But we are going to sell him off. We got to get rid of him because he's causing too much problems. He always running the pops with the report that when we out here doing bad, he's always got to be the golden boy. He always got to be right. He always got to be looked well on. He always got to do everything that he's told. He always got to be the golden boy. We got to get rid of that. He cramping our style. He making it hard for us to be wicked. He making it hard for us to make those bad decisions that's going to get everybody in the house that whooping. Read.
Then there passed by Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites.
Hold up. Who sold Joseph, bro?
Midianites merchantmen. And they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit.
So the Midianites beat his brothers to selling him off unto the Ishmaelites. Read.
And sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver.
So they sold him for 20 pieces of silver. Read.
And they brought Joseph into Egypt.
Read.
And Reuben returned unto the pit. And behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes.
So now Reuben then came back to go ahead and get his brother to get ready to sell him. And now he freaking out. He ain't in there. He gone. Don't know what's going on.
That's right.
See, that's what happened, man. When you have ill will, when you got a plan to do something bad, and then when you come back to try to, initiate that plan and follow through with that plan, and then it start breaking down at the seams, at the foundation, you freak out. A lot of people, man, that decide to go and do bad things, rob, armed robbery or any type of a burglary or any violence. And as soon as you get there, the script get flipped on you real quick. You don't know how to react. You can't think quick in the situation because you already had darkness on you. Your mind was already clouded. You're not in the right mind to be able to think and maneuver to find a better way out of a situation because you already had evil on your mind. See, this is the same thing with these brothers. But this is what the Lord is wanting to happen for his dreams to come to pass. Read.
And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not.
He said, man, hey, Joseph ain't in there, bro. Read.
And whither shall I go?
Hey, bro, where we gonna go? How are we gonna be able to tell Pop, bro, something happened to Joseph? What are we gonna do? We gotta come up with a story right now, bro. We all gotta be on one accord here. Read.
And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood.
So now they come up with a plan. All right, we gonna bloody up his coat and we're gonna make it seem like some animal devoured him. Read.
And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no.
Knowing damn well that that's Joseph's coat. But this is the plan that they've come up with to keep them from getting their head knocked in. Because Jacob loved Joseph so much. They knew that if they came back without a proper story, without a proper way of explaining things, bro, it was going to be all hell in that tent. It's going to be all hell in that house. It's going to be all hell. Bro, we've all experienced things like this. If you have siblings, if you have multiple brothers and sisters and y'all out there doing bad, you all come together. Hey, bro, we got to figure out this plan. You in the house, y'all playing around, y'all horsing around, y'all break something. Now you got to figure out what you're going to tell your mama. Now you got to figure out what you're going to tell your daddy. How did this get broken? How did this not be the same way when they came home? This was working. I mean, when they left home, it was working. When they came back, it's broken. We got to come up with a story and it got to be believable. See, they had to get rid of Joseph because Joseph would have told them exactly what happened. Read.
And he knew it and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces.
Now, just take a moment to think about this. Your brothers hate you. They envy you. They dislike the spirit and the light that you exude. They hate the fact that your parents show favor unto you because of how you operate, how you think, how you speak. You are implementing all of the teachings and instructions that they are giving you, and you are operating as a positive human being, as a positive person. Now, think how wicked that is. that you come up with a plan to off that same person that you have hatred towards, that you have envy towards. And not only that, the distraught and the heartbreak that you're bringing to your parents with this lie. Not only that, with the plan that you originally had in your mind, the type of distress and emotional heartache that you was going to cause and that you are causing right now. But that's wicked. That's not positive. That's not thinking clearly. That's not moving with the Spirit of Christ. This is an example of how we are not supposed to operate. This is an example of how you are not supposed to move. Now, by telling this lie, they've destroyed the spirit of their father, thinking that his son is dead. That some beast has killed his son. All the while, he's very well alive, but he's been sold by a whole nother people. Jump down, read verse 36, bro.
And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
So now he has been sold into servitude. So they told their pops, they dipped the blood, they dipped the coat in blood, then came up with this elaborate story that he'd been devoured by beasts. That now he's dead. The same brother. Can you put yourself in the same shoes right now, right to this day, in Joseph's shoes at this particular moment, knowing that your brothers hate you, knowing that they envy you, knowing that they can't wait to put their hands on you, knowing that they can't wait to get rid of you? Are you going to be able to show that same love and positivity towards them? Or are you going to come back around and show that hatred and that anger towards them as they show towards you? You right now. The ones that so-called call themselves in the truth, that call themselves following the Lord, that call themselves with the garment and the mitre and your fringes and everything. You right now, would you be able to say that if this type of situation, this type of obstacle, this type of energy was being directed to you, would you be able to respond the same way Joseph would, or would you respond the way that the world taught you how to respond?
Bring it out.
Really think about that. How much positivity is really in you? How much patience do you really have to let the Lord work it out? Think about that. I'm posing that question. Really, let that sizzle in your spirit. Jump over to St. Matthew's 5:43. Let's see what type of spirit and mindset Joseph had. Let me get there with you, bro. Read that.
The book of St. Matthew, chapter 5, verse 43.
See, this is the spirit that Joseph had, but this is also the spirit of Christ. Read.
Ye have heard that it has been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy.
See, in that moment, your brother's looking at you, looking to do ill will towards you. In your mind, they're your enemy right now. He say, love thy neighbor, but hate thy enemy. But wait, there's more. Read.
But I say unto you.
But Christ say unto you, read.
Love your enemies.
What do you say, do, bro?
Love your enemies.
Read.
Bless them that curse you.
Hold on. He say, what, do, bro?
Bless them that curse you.
He say, bless them that curse you. Read.
Do good to them that hate you.
Hold on, wait. He say, do what, bro?
Do good to them that hate you.
All of this is still encompassing that positive mindset, that positive outlook, that positive attitude. Read.
Right. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
See, this is what it means by killing them with kindness. Continue to move in the spirit of Christ. Let the Lord do what he will unto them, because it's going to be way worse than what any type of vengeance, any type of plan, any type of thing you can come up with. The Lord gonna deal with it way worse than what you can do. So what your best bet is to do is to continue to move like Christ. Continue to be positive. Continue to have that smile. Continue to have that positive outlook. Continue to uplift. Continue to be a stand-up bro. Continue to be a stand-up sister. Continue to let nothing but love and appreciation and knowledge and wisdom come out of your mouth, even in times of problems like this. Even when you have issues where it feel like your brother is against you. Even if you feel like your wife is against you. Even if you feel like your husband are against you. Even if you feel like the walls are crumbling down on around you and inside. Always have that positive outlook. That silver lining is there. Do not give up on the Lord. Read.
That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven.
He say that you may be the children of your Father, that you have that seed of Abraham. The true seed of Abraham are the ones that's following Christ. That same spirit. Because what did Abraham do? He followed. He had faith. He listened. This is all going into the same concept.
That's right.
The same concept. This is how you know that you have the light of Christ in you. This is how you know that you're moving with his spirit. When you're able to do this very thing. He say, to love your enemies, to bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you. That one part right there, do good to them that hate you, is hard for a lot of brothers and sisters.
That's right.
A lot of brothers and sisters that call themselves in the truth. A lot of brothers and sisters that call themselves stand-up brews, stand-up sisters with their head wrapped in the mitri and the garment super brewed up. It's hard because you still got brothers banging on each other in the truth as if this is some gang stuff.
Bring it out.
It makes no sense. How can we truly have unity, man, and truly come together if we still coming at each other like niggas on the street? Excuse my language, but that's literally the spirit that we have yet to get rid of Israel.
That's right.
That same spirit is still running rampant throughout Israel right
Bring
now.
it out.
Ain't nothing positive about that. Ain't no patience in the nigga spirit. So again, I pose that question. Are you going to be able to have that same steadfastness as Joseph, or are you going to fall privy to hating those that hate you? To having that wrath towards your enemies? Read on, bro. Verse 45. Read it again.
That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust.
He said to send his rain on the just and the unjust, to make the sun rise on the evil and the good. Read.
For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye?
He say, man, for them that love you, if you love them, man, if y'all all doing the same thing, what is the reward? Yet read.
Do not even the publicans the same?
Mm-hmm.
And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so?
It's showing you, man, that the same type of spirit, man, when you reciprocating this unto someone that's doing it to you, cool, that's what you're supposed to do. It's harder to show love to somebody that hates you than it is to show love to somebody that loves you. It takes more energy to push past the BS, show that positivity, kill them with kindness. It shows more character. It shows more growth. It shows more love that you love the one that does not love you.
That's right.
That's true power right there. Read on.
Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
See, this is why this is in here. Not to go on the street corner and tell somebody to be ye perfect because the Lord commands you to be perfect. No, it's telling you to be perfect because not only the Lord is going to show good and evil. There has to be duality with things for it to be balanced.
That's right.
See, we go on the street corner, we just use this, man, tell everybody to be perfect because the Lord is commanding you to be perfect.
That's right.
Using this scripture out of context.
Bring it out.
It's showing you right now why we're supposed to be perfect, because we're supposed to show love to them that hate us. We're supposed to bless them that curse us. We're supposed to continue to show that positivity to them that persecute you.
That's right.
Just wanted to touch on that right quick. That was on my spirit earlier today. Go back to Genesis. Start at chapter 39. Read that when you get there, bro.
The book of Genesis, chapter 39, verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him out of these hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph.
Hold. What do you say, bro?
And the Lord was with Joseph.
So even though Joseph went through all this, went through being thrown in the pit, went to having to deal with the hatred of his brothers, the envy of his brothers, now he done been sold off into the hands of a whole nother people into servitude. And still the Lord was with him. Because what? He was still positive. He was still being patient that the Lord had the perfect plan laid out for him. He already showed him the dream of what's to come. All Joseph got to do is play his role.
That's right.
He said the Lord was with Joseph. Read.
And he was a prosperous man.
Even in this lower estate, no longer being free with his brothers to roam, to do the things that he would like to do. Even in this lower estate, he's still a prosperous man. Read.
And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
And his master saw that the Lord was with him.
Even his master, even the one he was in servitude to, saw that the Lord was working with Joseph. Read.
And that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand.
Anything that Joseph decided to put his hands to put his mind to work, was made new, was good, was done well. The Lord was with, it was prosperous in his hands. Read.
And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put unto his hand.
So not only was he hated by his brothers, envied, thrown into a pit, found by the Midianites, sold into servitude. Now he in servitude, but he ain't in servitude. Because he's essentially running the house. He's essentially running the operations. He's essentially the man to go to when things is bad, when there's issues arise. You go holler at Joseph, he gonna fix it. You gonna holler at Joseph, he got an idea to make it right. You go holler at Joseph. Even in this lower estate, he's not in the lower state. That's positive thinking still through and through. That's being patient still through and through. Joseph is still playing his role. Those same, what's the word I'm looking for? Those same morals that was instilled by his parents, the same thought process, the same characteristics that was given to him, even in his lower estate, he's still exuding, which means the Lord is going to show favor unto him because he's still letting that light of Christ shine. Even in his lower estate. Read.
And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake.
Even the fact that he was in servitude, he was no longer on his own. Even him being up, the Lord was blessing everything around him just for his sake. Making everything happen to where Joseph don't really have to worry. There's not an issue. There's not a problem. There's nothing that come about that Joseph can't find a way out of. Read.
And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house.
Even just from his energy, man, his spirit being around was enough to basically infect everything and everybody around him to exude that same light. For that positivity to be there. For it to be a very advantageous working environment. Again, we've all met and dealt with people like this. That one person that No matter how bad or how gloomy or how things go throughout that day, you're not going to take his or her kindness away. You're not going to take their happiness away. You're not going to take their smile away. They're going to continue to be steadfast. They're going to have that patience. They're going to continue to have that positive outlook, because even if they did decide to go down that negative thinking route, bro, it ain't going to do nothing but cause more harm than good. That snowball effect is very dangerous. Because now, with that negativity sets in, bro, you lose your will to fight. You lose your will to endure. You no longer looking at people that's trying to help you as help. You tend to think that they got something out for you. They got ulterior motives. They got some type of plan going on. You start to really spiral down into a deep pit of darkness. That positivity, man, keeping your head up, moving towards that light, man, looking for that silver lining. It's just like doing them football drills, man, running through them paths, bro. Ain't no resistance. You just moving right through it. This is the type of spirit that Joseph had, even in the midst of his lower estate, so much that the Lord was blessing everything that he did and the ones around him for his sake. Can you say that? Can you say that, bro, with your garment on the street corner, condemning everybody? Can you say that even through the bad day, you still got positive outlook? Can you say that, sis? Even though everything from when you woke up to when you put that key in the door and turned the key to come into your home, everything been down bad that whole day, can you still say you have a positive outlook on life? Or are you gonna fall prey to that dark spirit? Or are you still falling prey to that nigga spirit right now?
Bring it out.
Having that patience, man, that the Lord is going to have that way out for you. That light is at the end of the tunnel. Being positive the whole way through, the whole walk, the whole travel, the whole journey. And this ain't even the whole journey. We still scratching the surface right now. Read on, bro.
And in the field, and he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught, he said, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored.
He was a goodly person and well favored. You can't be a goodly person and you're always negative. You can't be a goodly person and you're always angry. You can't be a goodly person and you always got wrath. You can't be a goodly person and you're always lying. You can't be a goodly person and you always got a negative spirit on.
That's right.
You can't be a goodly person and you patient. That don't work. You can't be a goodly person and not positive. Read.
And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me.
So now we going into some temptation towards Joseph, the wife of Pithra, saying, come and lay with me. Read. Let's see how Joseph deal with this.
But he refused.
Hello, what Joseph did?
He refused.
Read.
And said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wanteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand.
He said, man, he done gave everything and put it in my hands. It's my responsibility to take care of the order and operations of this house. Read.
There is none greater in this house than I.
He said, there is none greater in this house than myself. Read.
Neither hath he kept back anything from me, but thee.
He say, I have access to any and everything in this house but you, because you are his wife. Read.
Because thou art his wife. Now, then can I do this great wickedness?
He say, how then can I do such a disservice to this man and a disservice to my God by laying down with his wife? He putting them blocker balls up immediately. He throwing that Heisman up. You ain't gonna get me. We straight. But see, that temptation, some brothers, some sisters, They fall privy to it. That same mindset that Joseph had, man, he done gave me everything. You know what I'm saying? He put everything in my hands, man. How can I mess that up? Another brother be like, man, yeah, he gave everything, put everything in my hands. This own thing I ain't had. Let me go ahead and see what this talking about. That greed. That dark spirit, man. It come over and you fall prey to that temptation. You lose sight. In situations like that, nobody ever thinks to put themselves in the person that they harming in his position, in his shoes. How would you feel? You done took this person, man, you done gave him everything, you done set up everything, bro, put all kind of responsibility in their hand because they can do it and they're producing. Everything in your house is being blessed, everything good going on, and then all of a sudden you come home and they laid up with your wife. Or they laid up with your husband. Nobody ever thinks to put themselves in that position. Because if you did, a lot of us wouldn't go off and have side chicks, wouldn't go off and have side dudes, wouldn't go off, cheat on our spouses. But we be selfish. We let that nigga spirit take over. We no longer thinking positive. We no longer thinking about actually sitting down, man, and trying to come to an agreement on figure out what the problem is between us and making it work. Instead, we go and make it worse. Not being patient leads you down the path, man, of falling privy to that temptation. But read on. Let's see more. Let's see how Joseph deal with his wife. Read.
How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
He say, how can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Read.
And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her.
He said, the more she talked, the more he blocked his ears. The more she came on to him, the more he pushed away. The more she was spitting game, the more he was throwing it up, knocking it down. You're not going to get me. Read.
To lie by her or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business. And there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled.
How many of y'all bruised would have did that?
Bring it out.
Your partner, your day one, your ace boom coon, your partner from the sandbox is knee high to a grasshopper. You come over his house, man, and he not there. The girl let you in, and all of a sudden she up on you like white on rice. You gonna leave? You gonna push up off of you and let your partner know what's going on? Or you gonna fall privy to it?
Bring it out.
What about you, sis? Your bestie. You come over house looking for her and she not there but her man there, and all of a sudden he all up on you. What you gonna do? How you gonna move? See, some of us still got the world on us. Some of us still got that nigga spirit on us. We still not looking positive. We still not speaking positive. We still not moving positive. We're not being patient. We're not looking at the outcome. We're not looking at how well this can damage your relationship with somebody that you had for 13, 17, 20 odd years. And 15 seconds of fame. But see, Joseph, he said he left the garment. Just like one of them old cartoon scenes. He left his skin behind. Nuh-uh, you're not gonna get me, not today. That's still having that positive outlook, bro. Cause he know why would I do this and jeopardize so much?
That's right.
Read.
And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house, and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice.
Now, how many of y'all bruised? Been put in a position to where female lied on you like this, and you still showed positivity. Then came up with a whole scheme, then plotted on you. Then set up a whole lie, told a brother, told the cousins, he did this, that, and the third, all because you didn't want to deal with her, and you moved on, and she ain't like that, so now she sick of family on you. How many of y'all still positive in that situation? How many of y'all still looking on the brighter side? See, some of y'all come and deal with that anger and that hatred with anger and hatred. Let's see how this play out for Joseph. Read on. So she done brought everybody in. She done lied on him, said he done tried to lay with her. Soon as she screamed, he left his garment in her hand and dipped off. Read.
And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home.
So now the plot thickens. She done laid the garment down with her and just waited for her man to get home so she can come up with an even more elaborate lie. Read.
And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out.
Hold on. So now she done reported to her husband that he tried to lay down with her, that he was trying to get with her. Jump over to verse 20.
Verse 20. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison.
So now Joseph has been locked up under false pretenses. He in jail because she cried wolf. He in jail because she lied and said he tried to sleep with her. He in jail because she didn't tarnish his name. How many of y'all brothers gonna still be positive in the situation? You in the jail cell right now because she lied on you. How many of y'all brothers, man, is still gonna be positive? Sitting in that cell, knowing that you're not supposed to be in there, that she done lied on you, that she said you didn't put your hands on her, and so on and so forth, all kind of fabrications. How many of y'all brothers still gonna be positive in that situation? See, when they say these things were written for our learning, bro, ain't nothing new under the sun.
Bring it out. That's right.
Even through this turmoil, bro, even through all of these issues that we go through, bro, our forefathers had already did it.
That's right.
And showed us how to deal with it, or showed us an example of how not to deal with it so we can go the opposite way. It's been a lot of our brothers and sisters been locked up under false pretenses.
That's right.
But were they positive in that situation? Did they continue to have faith in the Lord? Were they patient? Did they continue to praise the Lord even in their lower state? Nah. See, this is showing us, man, how much power there is in the light of Christ, man, in the spirit of Christ, continuing to be positive, continuing to love them that hate you, to bless them that curse you. Excuse me. Because the Lord is going to do way more worse to the ones that put their hands on his children.
That's right.
Keep reading, bro.
A place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph.
Even through all of this, the Lord is still rocking with Joseph. Read.
And shewed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
Even though he behind the bars, he's still getting favor and mercy. He's still getting the best end of the deal.
Bring it out.
He the one, when you're locked up, bro, you're trying to get you some commissary, man. He come through his whole room laced out with the honey buns. He got the Cheetos. He got the Hot Pockets. He got the burro juices. He got anything and everything you try to get your hands on. He got it right there. Boom, all you got to do is ask. He the man. Being positive. Still showing love. Being patient. Letting the Lord work. Letting him reveal all the things that need to be revealed. Even in this lower state, even being locked up, the Lord's still with Joseph, because Joseph ain't cursed the Lord. He still ain't showed hatred towards his brothers for him even being in this position. To begin with, he ain't said nothing about how they put him in the pit. He ain't said nothing about how they discarded him. He ain't said nothing about how they hated him. He ain't said nothing about how they envied him. He's still rocking with the Lord, bro. He's still playing this position.
Bring it out.
How many of y'all can say that through all of this, you still gonna have favor in the Lord? You still gonna be positive. You still gonna be patient. How many of y'all are still gonna be able to have that same spirit as our forefathers?
Bring it out.
How many of y'all are still gonna be able to have the light of Christ looming and shining through, even though you're going through this? Real life, man. Ask yourself, are you able to withstand this? Even though you say you're 10 toes down, are you really 10 toes down? Is you really locked in? Because again, a lot of times our mouths write that check that we can't cash. And the Lord gonna see about it. He gonna test it out. But see, this is the power of Joseph, man, being positive. Being patient, man. Still locked in with the Spirit of Christ. Even through this. Even though she done lied on him, got him locked up, he still ain't bear hatred towards her.
Bring it out.
He ain't calling her all kind of bees and hoes. He ain't looking at her as if when he get out, bro, I'm a take out his wife. None of that. Read on, bro.
And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it.
So Joseph, bruh, was making it easy for the prisoners there, making the life well off better for the prisoners there, because he essentially is the man on the block, bruh. Because the Lord is still with him because of how he operates, how he thinks, how he carries himself. Read.
The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him. And that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper.
Again, even behind bars, man, even in prison, whatever Joseph touched, it was prosperous.
That's right.
Whatever was going on, it was going to be blessed.
That's right.
That's how powerful being positive is. That's how powerful being patient is. That's how positive having that faith and steadfastness in the Lord is. Jump over into your apocrypha and give me Sirach 2. And start at verse 1. The book of Sirach.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Man, it's one hell of a temptation.
Bring it out.
Wife.
That's right.
The wife of your master, man, trying to push up on you. You don't want it. And she mad at you because you don't want to knock it down. So she lie on you saying that you tried to sleep with her. Put you in a real, very precarious situation. Then lied on you to the point where you got locked up. The laws had to come get you. You behind bars. It's one hell of a temptation to break. He say, prepare yourself. Read.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure.
He say, set your mind aright, bruh. Set your mind aright. Stay positive. Continue to be patient. That's what that constantly enduring is. Say, being patient. Read.
And make not haste in time of trouble.
He's telling you, be patient. Make not haste in time of trouble. When you make haste, you make mistakes. When you make haste, you always leaving a mistake waiting to pop up. Be patient. Slow down. Look at everything that's going on, man. Endure. Dig deep. Read.
Cleave unto him.
He said, cleave unto the Lord. Cleave unto his teachers, man. Cleave unto his spirit. Cleave unto that light. Read.
And depart not away.
And depart not away. Do not separate yourself from that. It's telling you, man, bless them that curse you. Love them that hate you. Endure. Be strong. Read.
That thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
He say that thou may increase at thy last end. Read.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
Hello. What he said, bro?
Take cheerfully.
He said, whatsoever is brought upon you, man, take it cheerfully. Take it cheerfully. Your brothers and sisters hating on you because you want to be the good one. Take it cheerfully. Your brothers and sisters lied on you, man, and got you locked up, and sold to try to sell you off into slavery, and then try to put you in servitude, man, and then talk down about you, man. Nah. He say constantly endure. He say take it cheerfully, because guess what? What the Lord got in store for them is going to be way worse than what you can think of. Verse 4, read it again from the top.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Hello. He say, be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Okay, let's go back to Joseph, right? Joseph, his brothers hated him. He was envied. They looked at him as the goody two shoes. Always telling when something is wrong. When we doing wrong, always snitching on us, letting we all getting in trouble. Now we done threw him in the pit. We done stripped him. We was gonna kill him, but brothers talked us out of it. Now we thought about selling him. He done was found by somebody else. That sold him into servitude. Him being in servitude, the master of the housewife tried to seduce him. He didn't want to follow through with that. She got mad and he didn't want to lay down with it. Now she done got locked up. That sounds like a lower state to me. Even in the lower state, even him being in prison, he's still getting favor. He still be able to move and operate as if he's not in the lower state. That's how strong that positivity is, man. That's how strong that endurance is. That's how strong that patience is, man. You're going to always look for that silver lining. You're going to always have your mind centered on the right things. Ain't nothing going to break your will. Let's go back. Chapter 40, verse 1. Yeah, the book of Genesis, chapter 40 and verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 40 and verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers.
Okay, now we're setting up for what's to come next. All right, we got the chief of the butlers and the chief of the bakers. They done found themselves in the wrong end of the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Read.
And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard into the prison.
So now these two chief officers, chief officer of the butlers, the chief officer of the bakers, they're put in the same prison as Joseph. Read.
The place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them.
Not only was they put in the same prison as Joseph, but again, Joseph is the one that tends to all of the prisons. So now those two particular officers of the Pharaoh are in the hands of Joseph. Read.
And he served them, and they continued a season in ward. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison.
So both the butler and the baker both had a dream that they were trying to figure out what it meant. What was the interpretation of that dream? Read.
And Joseph came in unto them in the morning and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad.
As Joseph saw that their countenance showed that something was wrong. They both was trying to figure out, man, what was these dreams that we had, man? What did they mean? Read.
And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his Lord's house, saying, wherefore look ye so sadly today?
Again, these two particular people are in Joseph's charge, so he's checking on them, man. Again, man, what's wrong with y'all, man? What's up? Read.
And they said unto him, we have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, do not interpretations belong to God?
Read.
Tell me them, I pray you.
Because again, the Lord is with Joseph, so he's going to be able to have some wisdom and insight as to what's going on with these dreams, right? Read.
And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, in my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said unto him, this is the interpretation of it.
So now Joseph is about to break down to the butler exactly what's going on with this dream, with him crushing the grapes into the cup of the Pharaoh. Read.
The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, and the former manner when thou wast his butler. But think on me when it shall be well with thee.
Hold on. He say, okay, so now the interpretation of your dream, you're going to be put back into your position, into the good graces of Pharaoh within these 3 days. Read.
And show kindness, I pray thee.
So now that I done told you the interpretation of your dream, that you're going to be put back in the good graces of Pharaoh, bro, don't forget about me when you're good.
Bring it out.
Don't forget about me when Pharaoh bring you back, man. Just know that I'm still here, bro. Don't forget about me. That's the one thing I ask. Don't forget that I'm still up in here. Read.
And make mention of me unto Pharaoh.
He's saying, make mention of me, bro. Don't forget about me. Let Pharaoh know who I am, man. Trust me. I need you to do this for me, right? Read.
And bring me out of this house. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews. And here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon.
Man, I've been here, bro. I've been patient, you know what I mean? I've been positive, you know what I'm saying? I didn't, explain your dream to you. You know, the Lord is with me, so I can, explain these things, bro. Just don't forget about me. That's all I'm asking. You know what I mean? I'm in here. I ain't even supposed to be in here. She lied on me, but that's neither here nor there, right? Just don't forget about me. Read.
When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, He said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream.
All right, see, since the butler had a good interpretation of his dream, and the butler, okay, well, shoot, let me see what's up, man. The baker, excuse me, let me see what he talking about. Maybe my dream good too. Read.
And behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. And in the uppermost basket there was of all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh. And the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, this is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall bring, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee.
So now Joseph then interpreted the dream of the baker, letting him know, okay, your dream ain't as positive as the butler, man. I'm just tell you now, you ain't in the good graces of Pharaoh. This is what's gonna happen, right? Read.
And it came to pass the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday.
So the 3rd day, these 3 days that have passed, the 3rd day, the day of Pharaoh's birthday, read.
That he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants.
So again, these 2 particular individuals that was with Joseph, man, that he interpreted their dreams, they are part of this feast, right? Read.
And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again.
So the interpretation of the butler's dream was that he was going to be back in the graces of Pharaoh and he would hand him his cup, right? Read.
And he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand, but he hanged the chief baker.
Hold on, what happened, bro?
But he hanged the chief baker.
Read.
As Joseph had interpreted to them.
See, Joseph, with the Lord being with Joseph, him having the wisdom to be able to interpret these dreams, showing what type of value Joseph has. Again, remember he told the butler, don't forget about me, right? Read.
Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him.
In that moment, the butler forgot about Joseph. But all things make full circle. We're going to come back. Give me Psalms 18 and verse 2. Let me get that with you. Okay. Read that, bro.
The book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 2. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer.
See, even though the butler forgot about Joseph in that moment, he's still standing strong. He's still being patient, man. He said, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. Read.
My God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower.
See, this is the thought process you have. This is the spirit that you have on you when you have that patience, when you have that positivity, when you continue to speak positive, when you continue to operate positive, when you continue to love your enemies, when you continue to bless them that curse you,
Bring it out.
when you continue to move with the light of Christ, man, you locked in.
That's right.
This is how you are. Read on.
I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies.
So shall what, bro?
I be saved from mine enemies.
See, you have no faltering in your faith. You have no faltering in your hope. Your foundation is locked in. This is the spirit that Joseph had.
That's right.
Even though the butler forgot about him in that moment, guess what's about to happen? Let's go back. Genesis 41 and 1. Let's see. Read that when you get there, bro.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 1. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed.
So it's been 2 full years since the butler forgot about Joseph, right? 2 full years. But You don't hear nothing about Joseph saying, dang, man, the butler forgot about me, bro. What's going on, man? Come on, Lord, bro. I done did this. I done did that. You don't hear none of that coming out of his mouth.
Bring it out.
You don't hear him losing faith.
That's right.
You don't see that he's no longer being positive, man. You don't see that his spirit is being dampened or none of that. You don't hear none of that. 2 years. 2 years. Locked up. Wrongfully accused. How many of y'all can withstand 2 years, bro? You locked up for something you ain't did.
Bring it out.
And you don't break character. Your spirit don't break. You don't lose faith in the Lord. You don't have patience anymore. How many of y'all can say that? This is a real test of your spirit. This is a real test of the Lord, bro, if you really locked in. Read.
And behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke.
So this was the dream Pharaoh had. This is one of the dreams Pharaoh had, right? The cattle, the kine, it was 7 come up. They was all well. It was fat fleshed, everything looking good, man. They enjoying themselves on the good graze. And then all of a sudden, 7 ill, sickly cattle, kine, pull up. And they devour the good, devour the well looking. Read. Let's see what the second dream is.
And he slept and dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up on one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream.
So the second dream Pharaoh had, it was 7 stalks of well-favored corn, man, blasted up. Excuse me, it was a stalk of corn with 7 heads, man, on it. The ears of corn, man, everything looking good, everything nice. And then you have another stalk come up. It's ill, man. It's mildewed, it's down bad, and it devours the good. So now he wakes up. And let's see what happens. Read on, bro.
And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled.
That he was troubled. His spirit was in disarray. He didn't know what was going on because he wasn't sure what was going on in these 2 particular dreams. Read.
And he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof, and Pharaoh told them his dream. But there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh.
Again, remember, Joseph was well favored. So he had the wisdom of the Lord, man, to be able to interpret dreams. You saw how he interpreted the dreams of the butler. You saw how he interpreted the dreams of the baker. One would be well favored. One would end up being hung. What he said came to pass. Remember, he told the butler, don't forget about me. Pharaoh then called for all of his magicians, all of his wise men, and nobody is able to interpret these 2 particular dreams that are vexing Pharaoh right now, right? Read.
Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream.
See, remember, Joseph asked him, don't forget about me, right? The butler went, he was well off with the Pharaoh, but he was put back into his status, and he forgot about Joseph, right? in that moment, it wasn't time for Joseph to be brought back. So again, I asked, 2 years being in prison wrongfully. How many of y'all gonna really be patient? How many of y'all gonna really be positive about what's going on? See, the Lord had a better way to reveal how well and how precious of a person Joseph was. And this was that particular moment to display that. Read on.
And there was there with us a young man, an Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream, he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself, and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee, that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace.
Even through all of this, Joseph still does not show arrogance. He still shows that the Lord is giving you the answer. He's only using me as a vessel. Give me James 1 and 2. Book of James, chapter 1 and verse 2.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations.
Again, man, 2 years locked down, wrongfully accused.
Bring it out.
Read.
Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience.
That the what, bro?
The trying of your faith worketh patience.
Read.
But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Read.
If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God.
Let him do what, bro?
Ask of God.
Man, does this not sound just like what's going on with Joseph right now?
Bring it out.
It's letting us know, man, we need to have that same spirit, man. We need to have that same steadfastness. We need to have that same patience. We need to have that same positivity, even through the down, even through the lower state. He said, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God. Read.
That giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him.
So you don't think that the Lord ain't give Joseph that wisdom because he was steadfast? He let patience work its perfect work. He endured. He wasn't backbiting. He didn't show hatred. He didn't down talk nobody. He wasn't busybodying. There was no anger. There was no wrath. He called unto the Lord, bro. He prayed. He praised the Lord. He showed reverence, man. He was still locked in, 10 toes. He prayed unto the Lord, man, and guess what the Lord did? If the Lord being with Joseph, he brought him that wisdom. The wisdom to be able to interpret the dreams that are now about to show favor unto Joseph. Read.
But let him ask in faith.
Let him what?
Ask in faith.
See, Joseph showing that his faith was never wavering. Read.
Nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord.
For that man that wavereth in faith, man, let him not think that he is going to receive anything from the Lord because you're being tossed to and fro. See, Joseph received this favor from the Lord because Joseph was steadfast. He was that rock. Unmoved, that foundation, unshaken. He was patient and he was positive throughout all of his lower state, throughout all of the things that transpired against him. Let's go back. Genesis 41. Pick up at verse 17.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 17. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and the ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored, as at the beginning. So I awoke, and I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered thin and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do.
He said the dream of Pharaoh is one. These 2 dreams are actually one dream, and the Lord is showing you what is about to transpire. Read.
The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh.
So Joseph interpreted the dream, letting them know you're going to have 7 years of good, plentiful harvest, good cattle. And then after that, you're going to have 7 years of famine, 7 years of ill cattle. Nothing is going to be able to be produced. Nothing is going to be good. All of this is going to be bad across the land, right? Read.
Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. And all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt. And the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous.
You say that famine is going to be so grievous that the 7 years prior to it, everybody's going to forget all about that. Read.
And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise.
See, now he's setting himself up. Joseph is setting himself into a position to where he can be that discreet and wise man. Remember, he told the butler, don't forget about me. He interpreted those dreams, and those dreams came to pass, right? So now he got favor. Now Joseph is legit because what he said through the Lord has come about. Read.
And set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
So now he's telling you he need a man that's going to be able to tell everybody during these good, plentiful years, man, that we take up a 5th of the harvest, right? Read.
And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities.
So through those plentiful years of the good harvest and the good kind, we're going to take a portion of everything and we're going to store it up in the cities, into the storehouses for when that famine hit. Read.
And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine.
Read.
And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is? A man in whom the Spirit of God is?
See, Pharaoh asked him, bro, is there any man that we can find that the Lord is dealing with like this? Read.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God hath showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art.
He said, man, after you being able to do this, what you saying is legit. The Lord is working with you, man. God is with you. There is no other man that's more discreet or wise than him dealing with you right now.
That's right.
Let you be that man. Let you be the one that take part and separate those harvests and have them stored up for the famine. Let you be that man. Let you be put in that position. Read.
Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto the word shall all my people be ruled.
Hold up. He said, thou shalt be over my house. And everybody's going to follow that rule. Read.
Only in the throne will I be greater than thou.
He say, only because I sit on the throne is the reason that I'm going to be greater than you. Everybody else is going to have to come to you. Everybody else is in a lower state other than you. Under you. I'm the only one, because I sit on the throne, I have a higher estate than you. That's one hell of a jump, ain't it? Being sold first, being hated, being envied, being attacked, being stripped, put in the pit, found, sold, put into servitude, lied on, put in jail, and now, at the end of it all, you're in a position to where you are underneath Pharaoh. You're in a position to where you're underneath the rule of this land. The only person that has more pull than you is the ruler of the land. Not his advisors, not his wives, not his strategists, not his captains, not his magicians, not his wise men, but you. I say being patient and being positive worked one hell of a way for Joseph, didn't it? Because remember the dream Joseph had in the beginning when he was talking to his brothers. He was going to be put in a position where he would be able to take care of his family when this famine comes. We're going to get into it on part 2. Let's keep going. Give me James 1 and 12.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
He say what, bro?
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
Read.
For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
Man, you see this? You see how being positive, man, how being patient, you see the reward behind that? And this is one example of many examples throughout this book. That's why I tell us to read, to learn. That even through the times where our spirit is down, even through the times where it seems like ain't no way out, you're going to always have hope. Because you know that the Lord got you. You're going to know that the Lord ain't going to leave you in a position where you can't find escape. He say, blessed is that man, bro, that endured that temptation, man. That's 10 toes, that stay patient, that stay positive, that continue to show the love to them that hate him. Continue to show the love towards his enemy. Continue to bless them that curse him. Continue to be steadfast. Continuing to show the spirit of Christ. Let's go back. Genesis 41 and verse 40. We getting near to a close, Israel.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 40. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto the word shall all my people be ruled.
He's saying, according to your word, Joseph, shall all my people be ruled. Read.
Only in the throne will I be greater than thou.
Only because I sit on the throne am I greater than you. Read.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bow the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt.
So that's one hell of a rise from the beginning of being a 17-year-old boy. Hated on, envied, stripped, mistreated, to end up now only second to Pharaoh. Read.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name, what? Zapnath Paneah.
There you go. You got it.
And he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
So again, it was a 17-year-old boy. Went through all of this. Throughout these years. This man now is 30. And he's ruling over the land of Egypt. Only second to Pharaoh. Read.
And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities, the food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up in the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea.
It was so much corn. It was as the sand of the sea. Read.
Very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh. For God, said he, hath made me forget all my toil and all my father's house.
He said he made me forget all of the problems and issues. Read.
And the name of the second called he Ephraim. For God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction.
Read.
And the 7 years of plenteousness that was in the land of Egypt were ended. And the 7 years of dearth began to come, according as Joseph had said, and the dearth was in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt were famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, go unto Joseph.
Hello, who we told him to go to?
Go unto Joseph.
Read.
What he saith to you, do.
Again, remember, Joseph is only second unto Pharaoh. He said, go unto Joseph, and whatever he tell you, do it. Read.
And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And all countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn.
Hold up. Who all came, bro?
All countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all lands.
Man, we're gonna stop here for part 1. But this is just to show you the transition from Joseph being well favored by his parents and by the Lord, because he listened, he was obedient, he had faith, he was steadfast, he was 10 toes down, man. He was patient, he was positive, and he was loving, even though his brothers wished ill on him. They thought about killing him. They wanted to sell him off. They stripped him. Even though all of that, he still showed love to his family, to his brothers. Then, being put in servitude. Being in servitude, being over the house. Everything that he touched prospered. Everything that he did prospered. Because the Lord was with him. Because what? Even in his lower state, he still prayed. He praised the Lord. He still gave reverence. He still let his light shine just as Christ wants us to do. He still was showing those same aspects, those same characteristics, even to being lied on, falsely accused, falsely imprisoned, to now being second to Pharaoh, and everybody got to come to you if they want to get fed.
Bring it out.
Everybody got to come to you if they want to eat. And they got to listen to everything that you tell them to do. Because again, you second only to Pharaoh. Just let that sink in. How powerful it is, bro, to be patient and be positive in the things that you're doing. Even when things seem like it's outrageous, it's down bad, and there's no way out. There's always a way out. Let's go back to Sirach 2:1. This scripture should hit different now that you really went through the beginning portion of this, or the first half of the story of Joseph. This should really hit different for you now. Read that, bro.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him.
Cleave unto the Lord. Read.
And depart not away.
Don't lose faith. Be steadfast. Be locked in. Read.
That thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
He say, whatever is brought upon you, man, take cheerfully. Not one time did we read that Joseph was talking out the side of his neck. That one time did we read that Joseph was complaining of being in the situation he was in. Not one time did we read that Joseph was showing anger or hatred towards his brothers for him ending up where he was at. Not one time did you hear Joseph complain about him being lied on, him being falsely imprisoned. Not one time did you hear him complain. Not one time did you hear him lose faith. He said, whatsoever happened, bro, take it cheerfully. Read.
And be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Read.
For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
And acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Wouldn't you say that Joseph would be considered an acceptable man? Tried through that furnace of adversity? Read.
Believe in him.
Believe in the Lord. Read.
And he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
Give me Psalms 37:4. And we out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 4.
Read.
Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord.
Be patient. Rest in the Lord. Read.
And wait patiently for him.
And do what?
Wait patiently for him.
Read.
Fret not thyself.
Worry not. Read.
Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass.
And it's telling you, bro, stay fast in the Lord, bro. Don't worry about the ones that's doing evil and it seems like the things is going right for them. The Lord got their ticket already punched.
Right.
You just need to be steadfast. You just need to be patient and continue to be positive. And everything is going to work out the way it needs to. Again, man, I urge all of y'all, man, look in the mirror and really ask yourself, is your spirit strong enough, to even deal with a tenth, a small portion of what Joseph dealt with, and still give the Lord the praise, and still not talk down, still not have hatred towards your brothers, towards your sisters, towards your family? Just a small portion. Is your spirit able to withstand and continue to show the light of Christ? Continue to love? Continue to be positive? And on that, we say shalom.